Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Takeout Effect, brought to you by Business Takeout. The Takeout Effect brings real conversations in business. I'm your host, and my name is Banki. Today's guest is the founder of Real Talk Candles. We're going to find out about her entrepreneurship journey and any advice for business owners, tips based on things that she's learned, and the importance of branding. Welcome, everyone, to Rachael-Lea Rickards. Hi, Rachel.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here with us today.
No problem.
Let the audience know, if you can, more about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so thanks for having me. Who am I? I am a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a friend, and a business owner, and a woman of color. And all of those are as much important to me. Neither of them are any more important than the other. I'm the owner of Real Talk Candles, the candles that start conversations. And the company was born April 20th, 2020. So we just reached our 1 year. And I have a background in the performing arts. So I was a playwright and an actor. And then if you had told me 2 years ago that I would have been doing a candle company, I would have laughed at you, because this was totally unexpected.
That is true. And sometimes you really don't know the path you're going on, right? And we're going to start us off with going on memory lane. Seneca College, you went there to be a social worker.
Wow. Wow, you guys did your research. Yes. I was a social service worker. I went to school for that. And halfway through the program, I said, I don't want to do this. I love people. I love relationships. I love helping people, but it's not through counseling. It's through theater. It's through candles. It's through laughter. It's through conversations. But oh my gosh, yeah, I did.
Okay, I can relate to that on so many levels. Like, I went to college and I did human resources management, and I ended up being a graphic and web designer. So you can see, sometimes you start a path, you start the journey, and you end up going in a completely different direction. Exactly. Now, you decided the social working thing is not for you. No. You're going to go back into the performing arts, right?
Yes.
How important?
Never left the performing arts, but my parents being immigrants, Jamaican immigrants, they always felt, you do the performing arts, get a real job, get a real, get education. So I kind of went to school for it, but the performing arts never left me,
And I can relate to that, definitely. I wasn't born here. I was born in Trinidad, grew up in Grenada, then I came to Canada. So yes.
I love your country. I love your country. Love it. Love it.
So just knowing how Caribbean parents are, and what they know is, you go to school, you get your education, and you get a job from that. So going into an artistic direction is not something that they can understand, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
At least my parents. So how important is it for you to follow your passion, you think?
That's an interesting question, because I think as you grow, your passion changes. Yeah. Because what I was passionate about 20 years ago was not what I'm passionate about now, right? Like, we had a conversation off camera that I used to do a Facebook show, and I was passionate. I also did an event called Inside His Head, which was like a talk panel of all men, and I was passionate about it. And then I did a musical theater academy for children of color, and I was passionate about it. So I think what you need to do is love what you love doing now. See if that passion develops and continues. But I just can't. Every time I went to get a job, and work for somebody else, I either got fired. Big fan of being fired. I'm a huge fan when people get fired, because it's pushing you to do something else.
Exactly. It does.
Yeah. So I knew that whatever I was going to do, it would have to be on my terms, and it would have to be something that I was proud of.
And I can relate to you with that on so many levels. I remember doing a call center job, and they came to basically give me the talk, the talk of the firing talk. And I was like so happy. I was like, you know what? Whenever a door closes, another one opens. And usually when they fire you, they escort you out. This company, they're like, oh, have a good day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been walked out. Yeah. And it's a walk of shame.
Yeah.
But you take that, right? You take what that is and you fuel it somewhere else.
Exactly. Because you learn something in that experience, right?
For sure.
So we're going to jump over to the mid 2000s, right?
It feels like your life.
I remember being in my early 20s, and I went to see a play, The Kink in My Hair. And I just went there to see the play. The play was amazing. At the play, I bumped into some other friends. I'm from Rexdale. I bumped into some friends from Scarborough. After the play, we ended up going out for dinner. We ended up going to a club, and after that was an after hours. Just going to that play itself created memories that I really glad I have those memories, especially now during COVID. You know that everyone's in Ontario. For those who are watching, we're in a lockdown right now. We're supposed to stay in our house.
Yep.
So I really value those memories. And you were one of the original cast members in that play?
Yeah, I was. We started out in the Fringe Festival. Even before that, there was a building called it was Now Magazine building, and we did a reading. Then I was a part of the Fringe Festival, which is like the film festival. For those of you that don't know, it's like the film festival for theater. So it's the Fringe Festival, and we traveled across Canada. We went to Nova Scotia. We went to New York. Had no money. Bunch of girls just had an idea. Trey Anthony is the writer of that. And then, it was the first time I think our community was very proud because first time, and we could see it in the eyes of our audience. We could see them cheering us on, much like Real Talk Candles. But finally they were seeing bodies that looked like normal women, and we weren't perfect, and we weren't stunningly beautiful. We were just women. And
definitely.
Yeah, and I think that seems to be a common theme with the work I do.
Which is great because a lot of I wasn't one to watch any play, to tell you the truth. Like at that time in my life, if you tell me to go watch a play, I'll be like, oh, I got something else to do, and everyone's like, you have to watch this. And I did, and it was a great experience.
Oh, that's amazing. I think the kink brought people who don't really go to theater to come to theater. So you're not alone, for sure.
So then after that, let's go to 2006.
What did I do there?
I am not a mint dinner.
I'm not a dinner mint.
I am not a dinner mint. Okay, thank you for correcting me. I wrote it down wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a dinner mint was actually co-written with Trey. The way the title of that play started is way back when we used to have MSN chat.
I remember those days
a long time ago. However, I was supposed to go out on a date with a guy, and he was late, or I can't remember. It was so long ago, either late or he was putting it off or whatever. And I responded back, "What do you think I am, a dinner mint?"
Mm-hmm.
definition of a dinner mint is basically you have dinner and the dinner mint is the afterthought. So the whole play was about 4 women, their lives, and choosing not to be dinner mints.
Yeah.
Again, a relatable piece with regular women with regular lives.
You know what? When we go further down the timeline, I know a really great guy. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
2009, Broadway Bound, a theater academy for children, which you founded, and you were the artistic director.
I was, yes.
Why was it important for you to change the face of Broadway?
Well, in high school, I was always, I was a theater kid, and I could act, dance, sing. I auditioned for every role in high school. I wanted to be Rizzo from Grease. That's all I wanted to be, and I didn't get the role. And, you know, I said to myself, okay, now that you have a platform, it's time for you to give children platforms. And so it was really important for me to have children of color. Any child could come, but I really wanted to make sure that children who looked like me had that opportunity. Like all the teachers were people of color. And I still, actually, one of my not ex-students, but a student, she works here now at Real Talk Candles. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I remember watching a video where you mentioned that there was someone that worked with you that was an actor as well. And that person looked up to you and wanted to be in your space so they can learn as much as they can from you. I think I saw that on YouTube. And it had me think of the importance of mentorship.
What was it in regards to? Was it Broadway Bound? Was it Real Talk? Like, there's so many things. Bottom line, here's the thing. It is important. Mentorship is important. I got a phone call just today. A candle maker. She's young. She has never done candles before. She reached out and something just said in my spirit, you know what, help this young girl out. And she had so many questions, and you know, you could see she's just so excited to talk to somebody who is, I'd like to say, made a space in the candle making world, at least here in Canada. And so I just said, you know what, just come next Sunday, come to my space. I have a rather large space. Come and let me show you how to make the candles. And I just don't think that there's enough people who pass the baton. You know, I didn't always have women ahead of me that pass the baton. And
definitely important.
You lose nothing by sharing. Like, there's absolutely nothing you can lose by saying, come, let me show you. Let me open the path for you. Let me teach you things that I stumbled on that you won't have to, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, I know a really great guy.
So I know this really great guy started because I was single, still single, but I was single at the time. And let's be honest, it's not easy in these streets in Toronto.
It's not.
And they always say, like, the best way for you to meet somebody is through a friend, right? Yeah. Somebody who knows somebody. And then there were these like speed dating events, and it's like 400 women and like 2 creepy guys that show up. So it was like, who wants to go to that? And so I wanted to create something where I wanted to ensure that there was the exact same amount of men as women in the room. So the event was called I Know This Really Great Guy. And you couldn't come as a woman unless you had a really great guy to bring with you.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have a really great guy, then you would pay more, but I would find the really great guy. So I was on dating sites and interviewing, and it was just like these guys, and I'd be like, hey, just want to let you know, it's not for me, but I do this event, and if you wanted to come. And so then I ended up with just that. So if there was 25 women, there was 25 men. And I didn't want it to be speed dating. I wanted to throw in a little bit of theater and activities and interaction. So it was like a night of senses. So we did a blind date where literally everybody was blindfolded.
I did that.
Speaking to, yeah. We talked about the senses. So we lined up like 5 women and what they smell, and the man was blindfolded and he had to smell the neck of all 5 women. Then I pull some women out, put some new ones in, and he would have to say who was new. So it was a lot of games, yet allowing people to get to know each other. And there's quite a few people that had connected. I even ended up dating somebody, and we're very good friends today, but yeah, it was a cool thing.
I thought it was really creative because it really is just a different, an alternative way to date.
Yeah. Like online, obviously we're in a pandemic now, so it's very hard. That doesn't mean if someone else wants to take it on, a virtual, I know this really great guy. There are ways to doing these things. I just have to focus in on, I need to stay focused.
I hear you, definitely. So Real Talk with Rachel-Lea.
Yeah.
This was before Real Talk Candles.
It was.
Yes. What was that about?
Well, okay, so I've always loved conversations, and I've always loved a little bit of a envelope pusher, I guess you could say. I always like to kind of talk about things that will sometimes make people feel uncomfortable, or they want to say it, but they don't want to say it. And I had done radio with 105.5 for like 5 years when I was in my 20s. And I really loved radio because radio allowed people to feel uncensored. I couldn't see their face. The audience couldn't see their face, so they were unfiltered. And so when the whole Facebook show stuff came around, I thought, I love this so much. Let me do a show and let me invite real people every week. And so it just started organically, and then more and more people started. I had different guests, like this one Black pastor who walked away from the church, no longer believed in God. That was probably what made my YouTube channel explode. But at the end of the day, it's all about conversation. So did that for 2 years, and then I got a little overdone. So I had to bid it adieu. But it's funny how one thing leads to the next, right?
Exactly. So now we're at Real Talk Candles.
Mm-hmm.
You've been featured in so many different places. City Line, L. Let's start with, how did it all started?
Okay. So I was standing outside my workplace, April 23rd, 2019. And unfortunately, there was a man who was going through a psychotic episode, and he broke free from his care workers and darted right across the street. I was like not looking. Thank God I turned my head this way to see him, because he would have hit me in my temple. But he pulled back and he hit me in my face. And I actually suffered a concussion, and it wasn't good. It was really not good. But at that time, I thought, okay, you know what, just take a week off. I had black eyes, my nose, everything was just a mess. But, being told to be a strong woman, I had a condo launch to do because I was the event planner for this company. So there was a condo launching, and I would put on these big events, and I said, you know what, let me just go to the event. I'll go in, I'll make sure everything's okay, and then I'll leave. So I went, and I thought everything would be okay. And then people started coming, they had questions or whatever, and people would come up behind me, and I was startled. And it was in that moment where I said, okay, you're not okay. So you need to take some time off. So I took some time off, and then things got worse. I started to get panic attacks. I started to get anxiety. One of my besties, Jem, I would have to call her and say, just stay on the phone with me. I've got to go to the grocery store. I'd go to the grocery store. One day I completely abandoned my grocery cart in the middle of the grocery store because I had to get out. My heart was racing and it was taking over every part of me. So one day I kind of said, okay, you know what? I even tried to go to theater. I said, go to a theater show, but I'd have to sit at the end seat in case something happened. So I said to myself, okay, you know what? Crafts. I used to love crafts. I used to love glue guns and sparkles. I would sparkle up everything. Okay. So I said, okay, maybe go do a craft, do something that'll take your mind off of things. So I ended up doing a class at the distillery, a candle making class. And I had researched it and I knew that there wasn't going to be a lot of participants, so I didn't have to worry about a crowd. I even went there and made sure that I could sit next to the door. It was that bad. So I went to the class. I loved it. It was enough for me to spark some interest. Jumped to YouTube and I learned and bought a little sample thing of wax from Michael's, which you don't use as a professional candle maker, but it was a starter. And then I just started to learn more and more, started making candles for my neighbors, my friends, you know, like passing on candles and saying, does this smell good? Like, am I doing it right? And then I perfected it. So then I was like, okay, there are amazing, amazing candle makers out there. The actual name of a candle maker is a chandler. I'm a chandler. And so there's amazing, amazing candle makers out there. And I was saying to the young girl that I was speaking to, I said, listen, there's going to be a million candles that are better than yours. There's millions that are better than mine, right? Fancier than mine, more expensive than mine. There's always going to be somebody better, or what people think is better. How can you stand out? And so for me, I realized that the candles are beautiful, but it's the personality behind the candles that what people love, right? It's the words I put on my candle. It's what I do with the candles. It's how I create a voice for not just me, but for everybody that buys the candle. And that's why I think we caught on so quickly with Elle Magazine and The National and Cityline and BuzzFeed and, you know, one of our candles, two of our candles have gone viral. We had a Scarborough candle that smells like Jamaican patties.
Gordon
Station Jamaican patties. And we did a PS5 candle, which went international. And really, it's just the thoughts that come out of my head. And it allows me, instead of, you see how you went through the timeline, you're like, and I know this really good guy, and Broadway bound, and. This is the first business where I can stay focused, but I can change the labels as much as I want.
Yeah.
So what was on my mind, I put on a candle. Today I did a Doug Ford candle.
I saw that. That looks hilarious.
I did a Doug Ford candle. I did a Zoom meetings candle. So I think Real Talk I've finally come full circle where I have an amazing, I don't call them customers, I call them candle family. Yeah. I have an amazing candle family that follows me on Instagram. Most of my posts on my Instagram page are not by me. These are all customers and candle family that send in their photos. And I think I've built more than just a candle company. Like, I definitely think I've built a community and a place where, you know, there's been some really, excuse my language, really shitty times we've been going through right now. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Like, I think people just need a little bit of laughter and a little bit of joy and a little bit of cursing. Like, I unapologetically curse on some of my candles, but like, not just to curse, like, you know what I mean? Everybody just needs a good F-bomb once in a while. And it shows because everybody from all walks buys these candles.
Do people come up to you and tell you stories based on the candles that you make?
I've gotten messages. Definitely, I've sparked necessary conversations with
Yes.
people, right? Like, for example, our no words candle is our grief candle. And it says, no words, no need to talk, I'm here. I think that's the words. But it was very important to me because in 2014, I lost my brother. And it was just horrible. But I understand when people, when your friend loses someone or your coworker loses someone, you don't know what to say. Like, oh, the number one thing that just stay strong. What if I don't want to stay strong? What if I don't have the ability to stay strong? Like, I get what you mean, but sometimes I just need you to say a prayer for me or just sit beside me or like make me laugh. That's how I felt. And so I wanted to create a candle where someone, loses someone or loses a job or gets a sickness, right? And it's a gift that you can go, I'm thinking of you, light the candle. I don't have to say anything. Neither do you, right? So those are the type of conversations that I have. And I've had candle family members who may have bought a candle, might not have bought a candle, but they follow my page. And I've sent candles to people because I know what's going on in their lives, right? What is the cost of me giving one candle to somebody whose world has crumbled? So I care. There's care and there's hearts and there's thoughts and there's F-bombs in my candles. But yeah, it allows, we have a big girl candle, big girl magic. We have black girl magic. We know about that. But a lot of times, big girls, and I say that with love, as I'm a big girl, we have magic as well. And we need to celebrate our curves. You know what I mean? So I wanted that. I have a hot flash candle for women who will be going through menopause. That's another group of women that are often missed. I'm not there yet, but I'm on the road. So that's why it's important to me, right? It's candles of what we really want to talk about.
Yes, and some of them, just looking at some of your candles, like thinking back of memories, right? And I think especially during the pandemic, it's really important, right? I'm thinking back at my days in high school when I saw the Rexdale candle, right? You did one that for Mother's Day coming up, your mom is the bomb, and that reminds me of an incident in Brooklyn when we were there together. It's just amazing. How does it feel when influencers or singers like Deborah Cox post your candle on social media?
Not any more important than my girl who works a 9-to-5, who tells her girl, I love her candle. Not any more important. I love them. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
Influencers, artists, obviously it's great when you are recognized on a public level, when somebody who has made a way for themselves and they recognize your candle, right? Obviously it brings more following, it brings more viewership, but like, for example, Tracy Moore from Cityline, I just like her. I like her as a human. I love her, what she stands behind. I know that she's connected with my candles, but she's also connected with me, right? So that just warms my heart. And there are women in the city and outside of Toronto that want to see other women win. Deborah Cox, I do remember when I saw Deborah Cox was following me, I'm like, that's kind of cool. And their publicist reached out as well. And so it's beautiful. There's also Birds Papaya. She is an influencer in Toronto. I think she's one of the biggest influencers, and she found my candles. But I get just as excited when I get a message from a follower, like this morning in my inbox, and she sent me a voice message. She said, I just want to let you know this has been a really hard time for me during this pandemic, and your stories just make me laugh and they keep me going. And those are the those are the soldiers. Those are the ones that show up at Indigo. They're the ones pass my pictures along. They're the ones that champion me. So neither one is any less than the other, if that makes sense.
Yes, definitely. And my next question would be your next stage. I believe it, can't remember exactly when last year, but it was the Hustle and Slay, right?
Yes, M. Mills.
Big up Emily.
Yep. M. Mills. She's amazing. She's amazing.
So what was that experience like for you, and how did it help your business?
For me, it was a really great experience to be surrounded by like-minded women who are on a path to success. I was able to connect with, I think it was 8. There was one particular woman that I connected with, excuse me, and she was also a woman of color. She had a skateboard shop. Love it. She's amazing. And I don't know, I admire M. I admire women like yourself who are making space and a platform. I think M stands for what a lot of female entrepreneurs really set their sights at. And at the end of the day, she's a good woman. And I only want to be surrounded by women I like, like.
Yes, definitely.
I only want to work with women I like. If I don't like you, I don't want to work with you. Right. But I like her. I like what she stands for. And it was a great opportunity to connect.
Someone says, oh yeah, I saw her on City TV. Love her.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So one thing I love about your candles, when I see it, I see the branding of it. As a graphic and web designer, I'm looking at the name Real Talk Candles. I'm looking at the spacing in between each word. That's the way I look at things.
Yeah, absolutely.
How important is branding for you in business?
Very important. I am always a fan of simplicity, right? Like I want my candles to actually look so simple that it becomes the brand, right? Yeah. Like I want people to be able to look, I don't have any with words right now, but be able to look, I was trying to find one, be able to look at that candle and go, that's a Real Talk candle, right? Yeah. Like even my logo, Real Talk Candles, it's all lowercase. And people are like, well, why? Because it's the brand. It's how I like it. I wanted white. I wanted black. We just did some color ones. I don't know if you can see. We just did, we did a promotional candle of different colors. You see the different colors?
Yeah.
I was just playing with dye. We had, and I thought, okay, what can I do with this dye? And it can't just be a colored candle. So we had to see my color and celebrate it. Right? So I took most of these are sold, by the way. These are shelved to go out. But I wanted to do it promotionally, and I only wanted to do it for a specific time because everybody knows Real Talk Candles is all white. Yeah. Branding is more than just words, though. Branding is knowing what your brand is. And I am the brand, right? People are buying the candles, but people are buying the brand of Real Talk. So it could be candles. It could be pencils. It is the brand of Real Talk and what it represents. And that's important. Really, really important. I think people have really great products out there, but they don't know their branding, and they don't know their customers, and they don't know their story. If you don't have a story behind your product, you're like every other loaf of bread in the bread aisle, right?
That is true. And a lot of who you are as a business owner says a lot for your brand, right? And when I look at that, I look at, the code of ethics that business owners have. And then I read some of your posts on Facebook, for example. and I saw your thoughts on like DMX candles. Why you shouldn't be trying to make money on someone who has passed away.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. I have put up candles. Speaking of different issues, right? George Floyd, I did do a I Can't Breathe candle where it was really bold, I can't breathe, and then it faded out to nothing, I can't breathe. I any of those types of candles that I do, they are never for sale. Never for sale. I use my candles like somebody would use a video or a meme, right? Instead of meme, I communicate how I'm feeling on my heart with my candles. And so when Black Lives Matter, I did a Black Lives Matter, but a portion of that cost went towards little Black boys and technology. Like,
I like the St. Vincent candle, actually.
Yeah, St. Vincent candle proceeds. We're actually gathering up how much that is. I have family in St. Vincent. And even if I didn't, I'm very committed to Caribbean community, being Jamaican. And so, yeah, like, and, you know, there are people that will like, there were people that were making fake GoFundMe accounts for St. Vincent. Wow. And I'm like, oh my God. So we're a small company, but whatever we can do to make change or to give back, we will. But come on, man, DMX, put it up, celebrate his life. I just didn't feel called to do a DMX candle. His story might not have resonated with me. I'm not a big, even a hip hop like listener. So it didn't really resonate. His story was unfortunate, but I will post up things that need to be spoken about.
Yeah.
But those type of candles never go on sale, ever.
I was really glad that you said that, because it's really important. It speaks on your character as a person, having morals and ethics, and, you know, knowing when to stand for something. Even something as, you know, sending out a note when you're doing a candle and you mention, well, I want to be environmentally friendly, so I'm not going to send that note. I'm going to do something else. You know, I'm going to post a video instead, you know. So I think a lot of those things speaks on your brand, because it speaks to who you are as the character of who you are.
Thank you. Like, even our candles, maybe I can show you. I don't know if it'll, oh, here's one. I don't know if it'll show up on screen. Hold on. Do you see that? Do you see that? Like this? I can't do it backwards. Do you see how that isn't perfect?
Yes.
Okay. So that's called like a wet spot. And that's what happens with most candles. It's the wax and how it adheres to the jar. And when wax dries, it will do that on glass. Like, so there are some big brand candle companies that will put a label around their glass to cover the wet spots, right? Okay. So, or a darker glass so you don't see it, or a colored glass so you don't see it. But Real Talk Candles is about keeping things real. And also we celebrate body image, right? With my team, myself.
Yeah.
And perfect is overrated. So we actually, in our little cards, we say we don't hide the swirls and the jiggles, because we're now moving into a place where we shouldn't be hiding cellulites and all those things. So the candle has cellulite. The candle is beautiful, you know? So we don't hide any imperfections. And that's, again, on brand.
I love it. So before we close, I'm actually going to have two questions before we close. The first one would be any advice, because I remember you mentioned something about sometimes you have to walk away from offers and the tables that appear to offer you things. You posted that on Facebook sometime. I don't know if you remember. I stalked you.
Not so long ago. Yeah, not so long ago. Yeah, I was offered something that I thought, oh my gosh, it's going to be a life changer. I'm going to be on easy street, you know, because don't let cyber glitter fool you. You know, you go on Instagram and you see fantastic. Oh my gosh, her page is fantastic. What people don't see is like the many nights I've cried, the many nights I've worried, the many times I've wondered if I'll be able to bring in enough to make this grow to where I want to grow. People don't see those things, right? So when you're in a situation where you're a new entrepreneur and a business opportunity comes along and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I actually had to sit back and go, should I give away that much?
Yeah.
Do I need it that much that I'm willing to give away every single thing I've worked for? And I really had to sit with myself and say, you know, most people would probably want this opportunity, but you're not most people. And you really have to walk away because you love yourself and you love your product too much to give away everything. It was tough, but real talk will be okay. We have a community behind us. We have support and the right opportunities come along. So just be very careful as a new entrepreneur, you know your worth. And if you don't know it, don't give it away until you do, you know?
Exactly. That's definitely knowing who you are and what you stand for and knowing what opportunities are right for you based on knowing your worth. Yes, why not?
Absolutely.
So, what's next for Real Talk Candles, or what's next for you?
Well, maybe I can have some time and actually, once the zombie apocalypse ends, and we can actually get through this COVID thing, God willing, maybe dating would be good. Maybe getting out of this would be good. As far as Real Talk Candles goes, we just want to continue to grow. We want to continue to be on more shelves. And let's say the Real Talk brand will expand.
Yes.
So you'll be seeing more things coming down the camp, from the camp. But right now we're really focused on just continuing to make really great candles. There'll be candle making classes. So when we open up, we'll be able to do candle making classes. It's called Wine and Wicks.
Love it.
Yeah, we'll be able to be doing some candle making classes. And I'm also doing a course called the Pivotal Punch, because that's really what happened with me. I got punched, I pivoted. And so look out for that. We'll be doing, it's an online video course though. And it'll literally go through everything, the do's, the don'ts, and please really don't do that stuff in order to kind of, I'm no professional, but I can tell you I've learned a few things. I know how to put bums in seats in events, and I know how to sell products. And there's definitely a formula behind it.
Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. So if anyone wanted to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Well, join our Instagram. I think that's the easiest way because all my stories I chat up and you'll always know what's going on, and you can also inbox me. Actually, no, don't inbox me because it gets overloaded. You can send us an email to info@realtalkcandles.com. And that is the best way. That is the best way. And I look forward to connecting with people.
Yes. It's been a pleasure having you on the Takeout Effect today. It was a fun conversation. Bring back a lot of memories.
You did your work, girl. You did your work.
For everyone who's
college.
I know, right?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, it was a pleasure. And thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it definitely was a fun time. If you're watching right now, please feel free to share on, we're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn right now. Please feel free to share this video. Thank you for watching with us today, and see you guys next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. Bye.
Bye, guys.